Hey guys, how you doing? Want to make a quick video here. I'm in the process of building a bee box, and a little off topic from other videos I've had or posted so far. But anyway, a couple of years ago I bought a beehive or two beehives, and from the very beginning I did not like the Langstroth system. Uh, I'm kind of I guess, if you wanted to put a label on me, I'd consider myself, I guess, a semi naturalist. I like to try to do things as naturally as I can uh, in whatever area. Uh, we all do the best we can, you know. But anyway, the reason I'm making this video is I recently ran across a guy named Dr. Leo Sharashkin. I believe I'm pronouncing that name right. And I want to get back into the bees. As I said, I bought a couple of beehives. It's been almost 2 years ago, but um, I had to go back out on the road for a little while working. My construction business slowed down, and I wasn't able to tend the hives. And if anybody out there, if you're keeping bees, and the current system of what we use in the United States is a very labor intensive, pesticide, chemical intensive process, just like everything else we have. So anyway, I ran across this guy, and been researching his some of the natural ways of raising bees, and I really like this system. I haven't tried it yet. I'm getting ready for next year. I've got a hive I've got to go remove for my house. A little late in the year, I think, but um, given the R value of these particular hives, and the hive I'm talking about is a Layens hive. It's what he says, Doctor, and I'm speaking of Dr. Leo, says is being used uh, well over 1 million hives of this particular build in use over in, I believe he said Spain. I'm not sure about that, but anyway, these hives are currently used, and the hive I'm speaking of is this hive right here. This box here. And it's approximately, I don't remember the exact dimensions, about 20, 28, 30 inches long. It's about 16 inches deep, and uh, around 15 inches wide on the inside. I built this one out of uh, 2x material. The R value rating is pretty close to a 7 on the R value scale. So I went with that right now. Because this bee extraction kind of snuck up on me, and I realized, oh no, all I have is my Langstroth hives, and I don't want to use those. I want to go ahead and put the bees in here. I'm not going to rob any honey. If they're still there and there's enough honey, I'm just going to put them in this hive. I'm in northeast Texas, so should have enough. Hopefully they'll have enough honey to get settled into this new hive. So now to the hive. The reason I'm making this video. If there's any of you out there that have decided to build these or thinking about building them over the winter months, uh, I own a small construction business. I don't claim to be the world's greatest carpenter, but I am a skilled carpenter. Uh, I have uh, 4 to 5 different skill sets that I can go make a living with, and carpentry is one of them. I can build a house from the ground up. I can do trim work. I can build cabinets, things like that. Again, I don't claim to be the greatest carpenter in the world. There's a lot of guys out there that are better finished carpenters than me, better trim carpenters, but I'm a good carpenter. So, and there's a lot of you guys out there like that. I know. We build our own stuff. We work on stuff for other people. But again, back to this hive. The reason that I'm making this video is I want you to know that I downloaded the instructions. Dr. Sharashkin gives the instructions to build this hive. It's open source material. So me being the money saver I am, and make no mistake, I will still build more of these, and I'm going to try. He has another one that's similar to this, but it's an insulated box. But I built this because I have the material. I have quite a bit of material laying around. I didn't have to buy very much. to build this. And make no mistake, when you go to build this, if you're thinking about building one, when you build this box, it's a little. Now, I'm not a good instruction guy. I prefer to do things kind of off the cuff and do things. I don't mean stovepipe and stuff, but I mean just I'm kind of more of a, I guess, an artsy type. I like to look at something and kind of build it as I go. So plans are hard for me, a little more tedious for me. And these plans, they're good plans, they're great plans. And this is my first box. I realized that, the first one off is learning curve and things like that. But if you're thinking about building this box, just be prepared. Be prepared for the first one to be a little frustrating, or at least it has been for me. Just if you don't have, at the very least, you could build these with a skill saw. Uh, if you don't have a miter saw, you can get by without a miter saw, but I don't know how you would build one of these without a table saw. And he gives a materials list or tool list that he recommends or that you may need. Obviously, sometimes we don't have everything that everyone says. We have to make do with what we have. But just realize that if you build this box right here, you at the very least need a table saw and a skill saw. Obviously, a drill. But I'm talking about the more major tools. If you're kind of a do-it-yourselfer and you just got a skill saw and an impact, I suppose, if you're very determined and you have some time on your hands, you could probably build one, but it would be very difficult. I've got routers. I've got even a small router table over there you can kind of see in the background. I've got a miter saw, compound miter saw, table saw, pneumatic guns, all that stuff. But this box it's been a tough build, and or again, not necessarily tough, but just a little tedious. One of the things that I was wanted to tell you guys, if you're going to build one, he talks about in the plans for this particular box, and I'll show you a picture of this box of the plans right here. This came from Horizontal Hive, and this is the Layens Hive free plans. You can go to his website, horizontalhive.com, and you can download these plans, print them off. I printed these off. But in these plans, one of the things that he talks about doing is creating a tongue and groove joint for your boards. And I'll show you what I'm talking about right here. He talks about making a tongue and groove joint. Well, I could do that with my router or even with my table saw. That's a very time intensive, labor intensive step, and quite frankly, unnecessary. Especially if you don't have a router or if you don't have a table saw. One thing that is much cheaper than a table saw is a Craig jig. What I did on these joints right here, I'll open up the lid. Okay, we got the lid off. I'm gonna take out. I'm building my frames right now, so I'm not done with my frames. Move these out of the way. Now, if you look down in here, you can see that I joined this with Craig jigs. I won't do that again. I will join here and here with a Craig jig. So I stuck my board on the Craig jig. I ran a bead of Gorilla Glue, not Gorilla Wood Glue, Gorilla Glue down there, because if you wipe those joints with Gorilla Glue, as you know, Gorilla Glue forms a slight foam and expands a little bit. And I know that part of the reason that Dr. Leo recommends and tells you to create a tongue and groove joint here is for the warmth of the bees. These hives, you know, a well-insulated hive helps keep the bees warm and cool. It allows the bees not to have to work so hard having a better insulated hive, which anyone that's fooling with Langstroth hives or has in the past knows that you know, you have to do winterizing, some winterizing, for they're so thin. Now here we have, you know, fairly cold winters, but it doesn't really snow much anymore. Sometimes we'll get an ice storm, but it still gets cold enough for the bees to need some extra insulation. But my point is, this is one of the steps that I eliminated when I started building, and I'll do the same thing next time. Now the only thing I won't do with my Craig jig is in here where you see these where I drilled my Craig jig holes in the corners and joined it here. I won't do that. What I'll do next time when I put one of these boxes together is I'm going to screw them together from the outside, right here. See, here's a joint right here. Okay, next time I put these together, I'll put screws from here up. I'll screw it together from the outside. It's simple. I'm not going to spend, because I want to build several of these hives, so I'm not going to spend a ton of extra time trying to make pretty joints on a bee box. They look great, they're nice. If that's all you have to do and you've got time to do that, you're retired and you got all the money in the world, go right ahead. But if you're like me and you're trying to save money, you're trying to save time, don't make the tongue and groove joints. Buy yourself, spend $100 on a Craig jig. You don't even have to buy the Craig jig screws. Buy 3. If you're working on 2x material, use 2.5-inch screws. Set your Craig jig the correct depth, drill the holes, and join your boards. You just glue your boards. You don't have to spend all that time making those tongue and groove joints along that box. That's a lot of extra time, and it's a lot of extra time in drilling those joints on the inside and joining that box like that. Screw it from the outside. Everything else right now that I've built, and again, this is my first box, I'll build it. You know, I've tried to stick to the instructions because I know there's a reason for doing things a particular way. I understand that. But skip the tongue and groove process if you're running low on time, or don't want to spend a lot of extra time on that, and don't join them on the inside. Take a 3-inch screw, glue your boards with wood glue, and glue it together. But you will have to have a router, and you will have to have a table saw. You might make it without a router if you have the table saw, but I highly recommend it. So anyway, I hope that helps for any of you guys, you know, wanting to build one of these boxes. I'll try to make some more videos and update on what I'm doing, and, you know, anything I could do to save anybody else some time. Thanks, and have a great day.